somewhere, and I will read the text for it first. I wrote it 4 years ago while on a hilltop somewhere, and then I wrote a round for it 3 years ago. So the text is: crows calling out, overgrown lawns yawn on rounds. In their calls they found fields expand and bend on the earth. Moaning cars far below, hardly mellow but muted from up here. This place the sky gives grace to. Sharp noise, the hard voice of birds blazing words, their hunger humming, their hills whispering. There are 2 more stanzas in the original poem that may soon join this little round, but as of now, here it is.
Ready, isn't it?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, that song is really fun because every person sings a different verse, every person sings each verse differently, and so you get a lot of different cool textures, and it's very beautiful. So thank you to Josie Stapleton and Addison Domeniconi for that. This next song is a lover's song by Audre Lorde. She wrote this poem. Audre Lorde is a self-described Black lesbian warrior, poet, mother, and she is amazing, so you should definitely look into all of her works. This is just one poem that I was able to set to music, and I'll read the text. I'll be playing the piano for this, and Addison will be singing. Give me fire, and I will sing you morning, finding you heart and a birth of fruit. For you, a flame that will stay beauty. Song will take us by the hand and lead us back to light. Give me fire, and I will sing you evening, asking you water and quick breath. No farewell whines like a willow switch against my body, but a voice to speak in a dark room. Thank you. And now we will get into the voice as the ultimate microtonal instrument. Let's see. Oh, I guess I'll talk a little bit about the development of A Lover's Song. I felt like in this piece, the poem very much drove the melodies and harmonies that formed for it. And the whole time I was using quartal and quintal harmonies as opposed to triadic harmonies. So usually chords are stacks of thirds, major thirds or minor thirds, but in this case it's stacks of fourths or fifths. So it's either in the form of like 1-2-5 or 1-4-5. I felt, I'll go over here. 1-4-5 kind of has a more unresolved sound, so it's at the beginning in the first A section. And when I come back to that section, the next A section is in a 1-2-5 whenever I'm doing that chord. So something like the 1-2-5 to me sounds a little bit more steady and stable. And the other thing that I did did with that song was in the B section when the chordal quintal sounds are being arpeggiated in the piano. The piano is in a 12/8 rhythm, so kind of a big 4, and the voice either is a polyrhythm against that or falls into sync with that. So it's either in 6/4 or it's in 12/8 as well. So it kind of goes, it shifts around, and then on an emphasis like on the word beauty and on body, it falls into line with the piano's rhythm. So little tidbits about that. And now the voice as the ultimate microtonal instrument. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of a recap on temperaments and tuning. This might be a recap for some of us. This might be brand new stuff, so bear with me a little bit. What is 12-equal temperament? Well, it's the tuning system that I used for the songs that we just sang for you. It's the tuning system we are most used to. So basically, 12-equal temperament says that between middle C, C4, and C5, it is 1200 cents, and each half step is evenly divided into 100 cents each. This is very equal, very beautiful. 12-equal temperament is also called 12-TET, 12 equal divisions of the octave, or 12-EDO, or 12-equal, or just 12, if you're really cool like that. This is a perfect division of 1200 cents into 12 equal parts, and it equalizes all of the keys. So they all have beautiful major and minor triads. They all have the same intervals, no matter what key you're working in. What could go wrong? Well, here's the harmonic series. The harmonic series is an infinite series in math that occurs when a fundamental pitch, or a frequency, is played. So the frequencies above the fundamental pitch are its natural notes, not reduced to any of the pitches approximated by any equal tempering system. These here are notated as you can play them on the piano, with their cent differences notated. So we see the first C, C2, C3, G3 is 2 cents sharper in the harmonic series than it is on 12-equal temperament. The E natural, E4, is 14 cents flatter in the harmonic series than 12, and so on with all of these. These are somewhat minute differences. If you're really into tuning, you will definitely notice when something is fuller and justly tuned. That's what these intervals are giving us, is the just intervals of, or just tunings of these chords and notes. But other than that, it's not too noticeable. I'll play you a little clip in a second, but then you see, like, there's the F sharp up there. That is the 11th harmonic, and that is almost a quarter tone away from its 12-equal counterpoint or counterpart. So, like, remember, a whole tone is 200 cents, a half step is 100 cents, and a quarter step is 50 cents. So yeah, the F sharp is almost way off. I mean, it's almost a quarter off from its 12-equal counterpart. But yeah, just intonation is the simplest ratios, whole note ratios between notes. It's when the frequencies are so aligned with each other that there's no interference between them, and they are smooth sounding, and you get louder, fuller sounds from justly tuned chords or intervals. So I have a little example. If you took these first 16 harmonics that we saw on the last slide, and you put them all in a scale from, like, in order of their pitches, not in order of the way they occur, then you get this justly tuned scale, and it sounds a little different. The harmonic series is an infinite series, and F natural never shows up on that. So we don't get, like, if it's do, re, mi, we never get fa, we get fi. So it's kind of like a Lydian scale, and then there's a couple extra notes, and those extra notes sound a little bit different. And then the other thing is a C major chord in this tuning will sound just beautiful and pure. and maybe not too noticeably different, but like it is ever so slightly different. And then any other major third within it is going to be radically different because of all of these tiny variations in pitch. So the B flat is 31 cents flatter, the D natural is 4 cents higher, and now B flat to D, which is a major third, is 35 cents wider than it would be on 12 equal temperament. As well as that, it's even further when B flat is the fundamental and D is supposed to be 14 cents lower. So all of these are extremely nitty-gritty, detail notes, and then rapidly you get more and more notes. We're just going to listen to a scale, and then a C major triad, and then a B flat major triad. Oh, let's see if the audio is going to do it. Let's turn it on. That's nice. Okay. Yep, there it is. A little weird example. For anyone who was kind of listening for that third and that second chord that was arpeggiated, you might have been making this face. Because it's just so slightly different, but it is noticeable at that cent difference. So how did we get to where we are today with 12 equal temperament? Well, let's go back in time a little bit. So early music theorists like the Pythagoreans in the 560 to 480 BCE, and then Ptolemy in the 2nd century BCE, they developed or discovered the purity between whole number ratios between frequencies. So the Pythagoreans were really into any chord or any set of notes tuned based on the harmonics 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that just gives us the perfect fourth, the perfect fifth, and the octave. That was what was considered really, really consonant, and then like major thirds, major sixths, minor thirds, minor sixths were all considered really, really dissonant. This kind of explains like Gregorian chant and why you had so many monks tuning fifths and fourths and octaves, because that was what was considered ultimately consonant, and everything else was veering away from that consonance. And then they started to think, what if thirds and sixths were consonant? What if we could explore there a little bit? And because the major third is based on the fifth harmonic, and you can now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Any whole number ratio based on those numbers are considered consonant now. So it switches and it opens up the color palette immensely, and now, circa 1300s and so on, we're beginning to see music written with more thirds and sixths in it. Hesitantly, though, because they're still considered very dissonant and very scary. Let's see. Then moving on, early Renaissance theorists and composers created instruments to recreate these pure intervals, and very rapidly they needed many more than 12 notes per octave to adhere to the just intonation, to all the rules of whole number frequencies, in order to make everything be in tune scientifically. So we're going to look at a couple examples. All of the instruments that I found are in located in a school in Basel, Switzerland, and they've been recently restored. 2016 was when this one was built. This is an archi organo. It's 36 equal divisions of the octave, and it's tuned with mean tone. Mean tone temperament prioritizes the thirds, and it kind of makes really bad perfect fifths. So there's, I guess, 7 keys with kind of flat fifths, and then one really ugly key with basically a wolf fifth, which is a tritone in place of it. But the thirds are beautifully consonant and preserved to their just equivalence. And then, let's see, this is the clave musicum omnitonum, 31 equal divisions of the octave. This was designed by Vito Trasuntino in 1606. It's a harpsichord, and it's got a lot of scales on it. I think this is also mean tone tuning. And then this one is a cembalo chromatico. It is 24 EDO, Carlo Grimaldi in 1697. Oh, and the first one was Nicola Vicentino. Okay, let's see. We're here now. We're composing in 19 equal temperament. We've got a little more context. We can see that it's not unusual for the octave to have more than 12 equally spaced pitches. I say this because there are a lot of really strong opinions on microtonal music happening, and for the niche music nerd all the way back to the ancient civilizations, we've been thinking about tuning. We've been thinking about what is consonant, dissonant, concordant, dissonant. A little moment. Consonants and dissonance can, I think, be considered more cultural and culturally based versus concordance and discordance being kind of the more scientific basis for what is in tune and like explaining the science of why two notes sound good together, essentially. Those with sensitive ears who notice the difference between JI or just intonation chords and slightly off intonation of equal temperament may think poorly of 12 equal temperament or poorly of any equal temperament. Yeah, my thought and application of tuning is that it's another tool in a composer's belt to explore emotional depth, to get between the crevices of the note, and to be able to use the voice to match pitch and be sensitive to all of those different colors that show up. With the 4 pieces that I've written in 19 equal temperament today, I've utilized chromatic shifts to add color and depth. I've utilized dissonance to contribute to the tension of the text. And I have discovered poems within eerie chord progressions that I've written. Some poems allowing the progressions to feel less eerie in response. Let's get into it. This is what I composed on. This is a little cembalo chromatico. These keys were 3D printed by Richie Green, who won $10,000 to build all of these, and is currently building one that is much bigger than this octave and a half, which would have made this project a lot easier. But as it is, I composed on this with this notepad, and I wrote things down, and for my big SATB piece, which you'll hear in a moment, Richie was able to engrave that for me, and everybody listened to practice tracks, but we'll get into that in a second. For now, let's try speaker Bluetooth willing to listen to some examples on 19 equal. So here's the layout of the keyboard. You see the sharps and flats are now different notes. They're no longer enharmonic equivalents. There are 2 new notes that we don't really see a whole lot unless we're in wacky keys, which are F flat, E sharp, which that's an enharmonic equivalent. And then B sharp and C flat. Other than that, these are all very different and very noticeably different. You think that it would be really hard to sing the difference between these, but I mean, you'll see soon if it works. So here's a regular old C major scale in 19 equal temperament, and I'll let you hear for yourself, it sounds any different than 12. Okay, and now we're going to go up a whole entire chromatic scale, so I'm going to play 19 notes for you right now. There we go. All right, next I'm going to play the perfect fifth, the perfect fourth, or fourth then fifth, and then that has two tritones, which is the augmented fourth and then the diminished fifth in between. So I'll play them as block so you can hear kind of what kind of dissonance occurs and doesn't occur. That's the perfect fourth, augmented fourth, diminished fifth, perfect fifth. And then there's the minor third and the major third, but now we have the subminor third and the super major third. So I'm going to play the minor third and major third first. Major third. And now I'll play beginning from the subminor third up to the super major third. And this is the perfect fourth. Back down. There we go. And then there's third tones. So between the whole steps, usually it's just, 100 cents, 200 cents, 100 cents in the middle. Or, sorry, 0, 200, 100 in the middle. But for here, it's 100 cents, 189.6 cents. And then C sharp is 62.3 cents. And then D flat is 126.4 cents. So here are the third tones. But yeah, when you play them together, there's a lot of really intense beating. Beating is what happens when two frequencies are so close together that they start interfering with one another and they vibrate. So there's that. That's all I got for the examples. I guess. Oh, here we go. Here's the familiar intervals we have on 12, and their scent differences on 19. So you can just take a moment to look at that. Yeah. I would say the most difficult ones when we're singing are ones of like 20 cents. When it's smaller, when it's, well, okay. I bolded all of the ones that are less than a 16 cents different away from their 12 equal counterparts, or counterparts. And anything else is really quite bizarre, and we don't really hear it a lot. So yeah, 189, that's close enough to 200. 694.7, that's the major fifth, or the perfect fifth, and that's about 6 cents off. These are really not too noticeable when you're singing them. However, there will be moments as you're singing that it accumulates. So you'll sing a whole thing and then realize because you've been singing the 12 ones that you've been trained your whole life to sing, that it's going to be just a little bit off. But I guess that gets us into strategies for teaching singing. So can we just, before you haven't heard them sing, but just round of applause for my performers, please. Oh my gosh. They learned this music, and it's really impressive because it's 7 more notes than they're used to singing ever, and they're all well-trained, amazing, incredible, hardworking people and good musicians who want to retain the musicality of all of this. So our strategies are practice tracks. That's the biggest one. It's really noticeable to hear the beating. You hear the interference when you're more than a third tone off of where you're supposed to be. Listening and humming along. Third tones are not too different from semitones. They are definitely weirder and higher, and you have to really think about it. But like, there's a line, poor altos. It kind of goes like this. And that is like, it's a sequence of 3 notes, and then it's the same 3 notes, and they're all a third tone down. I'm sorry, guys. You did amazing. It's really good, promise. When we began each rehearsal, I had us warm up on 19 equal temperament, and we listen before we sing. Otherwise, we tend to go sharp if we're going like up the scale, because it just doesn't go as far up as we anticipate that it'll go. And then just like in 12, as singers, we always prioritize the just intervals and just intonation while singing. So if that means we deviate a little bit from the pitches on here, that is okay. Here we go. 3 motets for 3 voices in 19 equal temperament. I wrote 3 chord progressions, essentially, for this process. And then with all of them, the text for it came to me after I wrote the chord progressions. So it, I would say, was very much informed by having these really at times nauseating chord progressions stuck in my head, and like laying in bed and thinking, what is this like? And it really conjures up pretty vivid emotional experiences from day to day that I experience. So I will read all of the poems, and then we'll sing them for you. Equinox is the first one. Equinox. We wake to see the sunrise, yet the clouds are gray. Staring on that dear spring morning, all we did was wait. Rain came down on us, pouring. Orange and purple were our frail hands. When we're home, they warm. Our cold hands, we hold them, aching. I lament. Until the morning, I'm content. Then, sun it rises, I lament. Open my eyes and feel the dim light of the morning shining in. Gracious the day I seem to find. Love. Love is patient. Love is kind. Happy place. On a green leaf, near a brand new tree, with a good friend, we're letting our hearts decide. Watching the clouds, talking about life, laughing at nothing, we see the world go by. Feeling the sun, dancing in rain, reading a poem, knowing myself, and then you. All right.
Thank
Thank you so much. There we have it. The little motets. Let's see. So it's a tiny little bit of analysis or explanation. I felt there was a lot of passing chromaticism in this first piece, and that was kind of to keep you away from the cadence, like very much waiting to get home, and it ended up working well with the text because we weren't home. We were out trying to watch the sunrise. It was actually Josie and I trying to celebrate spring equinox by watching the sunrise, and it just ended up being super cloudy, so our hands turned orange and purple. But yeah, the kind of far away from home and then getting there, and it takes forever to get there. I'll just play that tiny little portion for you. And then when we come back in, we've just been here, and then we go in between that. But yeah, I felt the chromaticism demanded a text that was sort of, we're walking and we're not exactly reaching our goals. And then I Lament had direct third tone modulations. So there's phrase 1, which is until the morning I'm content, and then phrase 2, then sun it rises I lament. When it comes back in, it shifts down a third tone for all voices. So we end here, and then we come back in here. But the full chord progression. And then the cadence at the end is sort of like a bit of like a third tone planing sort of thing, where we're just moving from here to here. It just is super eerie sounding and works really well with feeling like every day there's this choice of finding love and understanding where love is located, but not really knowing where it is. And then this last piece is Happy Place. This is a very, very joyful piece about spending time with friends and talking about anything and laughing about nothing. And there's a lot of third tone dissonance in this piece, which is something we usually associate with, heart-wrenching moments. And we'll definitely see a lot of that in the last piece, so don't fret. But for now, we get to just sort of play with this idea that the two lower voices are kind of having this, I don't know if it's argument, it's kind of like call and response between me and Josie, where I'm saying, feeling the sun, feeling sunshine between trees, dancing in rain while it's warm. And then the earlier verses, of course, were on a green leaf as a fairy, near a brand new tree, new to just me, with a good friend, a best friend, letting our hearts decide, watching the clouds as they pass by, talking about life, wondering why, laughing at nothing, laugh till we cry, watching the world, or we see the world go by. Let's hear the bottom two voices, because those are very much clashing with each other the whole time, but somehow they're not in an argument. Oops. One second. Here we go. So you get a little bit of dissonance, and it is not utilized for anything heart-wrenching. Now for the last piece, O Utinam Liceat. This is an SATB polyphonic choral piece. It began as my interpretation of an early Renaissance polyphonic kind of piece, which just polyphonic means they're saying the words at different times. Because it began as early Renaissance approximation, and then it very rapidly went very far away from that. I also wanted to do a piece called like Experimentations, where I was just kind of messing around in 19 equal temperament, and then I realized that this could be my experimentation, and that is what it is. It is exactly experimental. It's a lot of noises, it's a lot of dissonance and tension and drama. Oh, you guys can come up and bring your stands now. I will show you the Latin text. This is a poem found on the walls of Pompeii. Scholars believe it was written by a woman to a woman, so it's the only love poem from the Latin era that is queer or gay, in other words. So here's the full Latin text, and here is my translation, and I will read that now. Okay. Oh, if only I were allowed to hold your neck and press kisses to your tender lips. Go now, my little darling, trust your joys to the winds. Believe me, the nature of men is light. Often, in the middle of the night, I lie awake, lost, pondering to myself. Many whom fortune lifts up from their depths are suddenly abandoned by her and crushed with a great force. So too does Venus suddenly join the bodies of lovers. Daylight divides them, and that is where the poem ends. Again, this is a poem found on the walls of Pompeii. We do not know who the author was. We do not know how the poem ends. We also don't know if it's multiple poems glued together, but that's not for tonight. Oh, we'll keep that up. Let me get a little water. I'm just going to talk about that for a very brief moment. Can we just get another round of applause for people who learned that? It's truly incredible what the human voice can do and what we can utilize when we're doing it. I want to play you just a section of this piece, probably the only one that I can actually play on here because of my abilities and also the fact that it's an octave and a half of this. So let's try that out. Let's make sure it's on. Okay. That's all. I won't analyze any more of this. I think that was amazing, but here's my conclusion. Tuning systems other than 12 equal temperament can be utilized in countless ways to enhance compositions, add dimension, emotion, dissonance. In my compositional process, I use 19 equal temperament to add or create dissonance or tension, which in contrast, the consonant moments just bloom and explode even more. I also explored the crevices between notes, as you saw in many of the songs, and the possibilities are much more vast than I've presented today. Thank you. I need to say my thank yous. Okay, thank you for, I can't just do it, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you to Addison Domenigoni. She sang on every single piece in this recital. Josie, who sang in all but one piece on this recital. And then all my performers, I'm going to list all of their names, so don't clap. Ethan Blatter, Patrick Wood, Zach Stock, Henry Alexander, McKenna Nowak, all of them. Now give a round of applause. Thank you to Anwin Willette, who was very supportive of me, even though when I was going off the rails all throughout this process. Thank you to Richie Green, who engraved that whole entire piece and went with me with all the tedious little nitpicky edits, met with me twice in the beginning, and then just kept responding and keeping correspondence open and engraving that all. And shout out to the 19 equal world and 17 equal keyboards that he is making with the grant money, as well as teaching the class Microtonality and Tuning that got me to write I Lament in the first place, and then opened up this whole entire little path, huge path for tuning and compositional exploration. Thank you to my sister who's recording this today, and this will be uploaded and available to watch. Thank you to my mom and stepdad for their amazing, wonderful support, always. And then finally, thank you to Renee and Dr. Boyle and Rory Cowell couldn't be here, but they all supported me in amazing ways as teachers and mentors who believed that I could do it and encouraged me no matter what. Thank you all for coming. Yes, you are all free to go, but I will be answering questions up here formally now, if you'd like. Yes?
Hi. Okay. So can you go back to the graph?
The graph.
The one that has all of the, yeah, no, more forward. No.
This one?
No.
Wait, what?
It listed the octave versus 19 equal temperament. This one. Okay. So obviously the numbers in 12 equal temperament are so much nicer.
Right.
So why 19 equal temperament when those numbers aren't super friendly to math? Why?
Oh, well, no matter what, this octave is still going to be divided into 1200 cents. So it's either 1200 divided by 12, which is 100, or 1200 divided by 19, which is 63.2.
So, like, does
Is
it
the step.
prioritize any particular intervals?
Does what prioritize?
The 19.
Oh, 19. Let's see. I think there are definitely intervals on 19 that are much closer to the just intervals that show up on the harmonic series, and I think that would be the A sharp on 19 is closer in pitch to the justly tuned flat 7 that we saw in the harmonic series, which is over here. So the B flat is really similar, I believe, but I don't know off the top of my head which intervals are purer in 19.
Sorry for not prepping beforehand, I just got curious.
No, yeah, it's good.
With the decimals being kind of ugly, Ellis invented the cent system around 12 equal temperament. So 12 equal temperament looks really clean mathematically, but that's just kind of a coincidence. That's like saying 12 hours to the hour, but then that's the person who invented the clock.
Okay. Thank you.
Nice. Any other questions? Yes.
Would you be able to demonstrate one of the warm-ups that you had your choir doing?
Yeah, okay, everybody sing. Lessons. Okay, we're gonna do, oh my gosh, okay. My laptop automatically turns the volume down just for context. So we're gonna do 1, 2, 1, li, la, 2. And it doesn't matter, you don't have to be super accurate, but we're all gonna do it, okay? Ready, go. 1, 2, 1, li, la, 2. 2, 3, 2, li, la, 3. 3, 4, 3 and 4. 4, 5. 5, 6, 5, li, la, 6, 6, 7, 6, li, la, 7, 7, 8, 7 and 8. Beautiful. You're all microtonal singers. Awesome. That was one of them, yeah. Any other questions?
So you could theoretically divide it. You could have anything. You could have 60. You could have 60. What is this called?
Equal temperament.
Equal temperament,
So
yeah.
you could have 60 equal temperament.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to get into that a little bit. So why 19, 12, 17, 31? Those are all like kind of the more common equal divisions of the octave. But when you start to do like 18, for example, you're gonna get, instead of like as your perfect fifth, you'll probably have something closer to like that as your perfect fifth. It depends on like the harmonies that we're used to and that we really like being present or not. So like if a good approximation of that is in the temperament, great, we can use that division of the octave. If not, then it's sort of like working, if you know anything about modes on 12 equal, it's like working in Locrian, where your tonic triad is a diminished one.
Does this increase the amount of modes like with this theoretically?
Oh yeah, I have no, I mean, it's probably, I mean, already on 12 you have so many different combinations of notes, and it's only the ones that we have labeled and sort of ascribed to that we consider like the named and labeled modes. And on here, I can't even imagine what kind of beasts of modes you can make. But I think in my further analyses of my pieces, I would love to sort of arrange all of the notes in a scale and see sort of what I did there and why. But I haven't done that yet. Dr. Dave.
What mode does the bird song fall into, or is it different per species, and is there any species that does a 19?
Yeah, it's a good question. The one thing I could do for you that I did not do tonight was I could play the chord progression of the second song on here, and then I can do it over there, and you can hear kind of the differences, but it changes so much. It's sort of like, I didn't ever use this analogy in this presentation, but I'll use it now. Like, you have an 8-color rainbow, and then you get the 64 pack, essentially. And then you have, or like in pencils, colored pencils, and then you have like so many more colors to work with, and it's just sort of like, yeah, I have no idea what mode or key that one would be in, but it is kind of, it's in B flat major a little bit, sometimes. Yeah. Yes.
Kind of, I guess, along the lines of what we've been asked so far, but like, in terms of perception, like, do you run into a space where I assume that if you get like smaller and smaller, if you get closer and closer between each pitch, there's a point at which like you perceptibly can't notice any difference between them?
Oh yeah, definitely. Scent differences, they're much easier to notice when they're like playing at the same time and you can hear the frequencies not get along with each other. It's very noticeable. Quarter tones, third tones, fifth tones are noticeable. Fifth tones are used in 31 equal temperament. And then when it gets smaller and smaller, it just becomes more like a spectrum, and it's just fluid. Like, I think for the class, the microtonality class, somebody did a saxophone, deep dive into microtuning in saxophone, and I think there was like 200 or 149 notes per octave, I don't remember, but it was like, listening to it was just like, you listen for 10 seconds and it sounds like he's been playing the same note the whole time, but if you go back 10 seconds, it's a different note ever so slightly, that sort of thing. And then also, yeah, I would say 20 cents is a really hard difference to hear, but anything above that, like, you spend so much time around it and doing it that at some point you notice. Yeah. Yeah.
I have a question for the players. Like, when you saw the score, how did you practice that and like check yourself to be like, okay, I'm definitely playing or singing G sharp and not A flat?
So I did not use any instruments. I just used the practice track because I was like, none of the instruments I have are going to be reliable.
Well, because like if you play a G sharp on a piano, it's going to be a different G sharp than on this 19. So it's like, it's useless to try to use a keyboard except if you know where middle C is and you're like, oh yeah, I can sing A sharp.
A sub major 6.
Yeah.
A sub minor 6.
We did that in inner training, right? Like, so you just have to listen to the practice tracks. And then also like, when I'm singing with these people, trying to like feel essentially how it fits together, and then like you can tell like, oh, I'm not right on that note, or like, come on, Ethan, what are you doing?
Why aren't you? Yeah. Like a big thing about it is also that, especially for us, even though we are trained singers and have been singing, you know, some of us our entire lives, like, it's a big shift to try and like sing in a completely different temperament. And so for me, a lot of what I'm doing is just kind of vibing it out almost, like listening to like the practice tracks, like the whole recording, and then my personal practice track, and trying to find in the piece where the color shifts are, and basically just being like, okay, if this is this color shift, then it means that I've moved into using, you know, like the sharps instead of the flats, you know. And so it's less analytical and more just like vibing it out. Yeah.
I think I also noticed like building up the level of difficulty and also like independence. So like starting out with singing along with the track, and then maybe adding your friends singing with you. So like we did tenors and basses singing along with the track. And then maybe after you do that, letting go of the track and seeing if you can hold on to the key with just you guys, and then adding in the sopranos and altos. So building up an independence.
Is the practice track like Kat playing the parts on piano, or?
Thank goodness, because it was engraved in Dorico, all of them had separate tracks from that. So it's like a clarinet sound to do all of these. The ones for the SMA pieces, for the treble voices, I did play all of our parts and record those myself, because those aren't engraved in any software. But yeah, for this one, it's all like computer generated. Yeah. Yeah.
Would you eventually, because you've written for 3 voices and now 4 voices, would you eventually want to move up to more voices and have a more, like, potentially an 8 voice? I'm wondering how that even sounds.
It was really stressful to write some of these lines, and then, no. It was so overwhelming already. I think I'll just keep it 19 tones per octave, 4 voices per song.
For now.
No. All right. Thank you so much for coming. I'd love to say hello.